The United States surf casting team, part of USA Angling, is back stateside and settled in after their adventure to Pisa, Italy, where they competed in the 2026 FIPS-Mer Long Casting of Sea Weights World Championship. The team is here for a quick debriefing roundtable session to give us some of the insights into their experiences there, and of course the tremendous accomplishment of, among other things, bringing home with them the overall silver medal, coming in second only as a team, only to their friends from Argentina. So let's introduce everybody. I'm Matt Tuers, the organization's secretary and communications director. Now, in case your name isn't in the caption, just raise your hand on the screen when I say your name. Tommy Farmer, our president, is here. Carlos Gonzalez Jr. is our vice president and actually joined the team in Italy in a support role. Ryan Lambert is the team captain and program director and competed in Italy with teammates Will Nash, Connor Brown, and Daniel Nassiff. So we also want to shout out Matt Deshane, who is the team's official reel technician, I guess is the phrase some people use. I would say real physicist or wizard. So we'll jump right into the conversation, and you guys, again, take it anywhere you want. I might pop in here and there with some other questions, but first things first, and I'll let Ryan lead off. We saw glimpses of the physical training on your social media, but what all went into preparing for this year's Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, after last year's Worlds in Argentina, and even prior to that, you really don't have to search very hard to understand the level of competition that you're going up against. You look at folks like Rafael Sanso from Uruguay, look at Juan Hammer from Argentina, Filippo Montepagano from Italy. These are big physical guys, extremely strong, some of which hold or have held national powerlifting records. So these are very strong, very fast guys. So if we're trying to compete as individuals and as a team, we've got to put the work in to be as good as we possibly can. Some of that is overall strength training. Some of it is very focused in certain muscle groups. Can't give away all our technical secrets, but there are certain things that we share back and forth that we really focus on. It's no secret that the four of us spend a lot of time in preparation, whether it's doing cardio, making sure that we don't gas ourselves out by getting into a major tournament. And yeah, you're walking several miles per day. You've got to have that stamina. You've also got to be able to perform not just physically but mentally. So some of your practice sessions are going to be very frustrating. You've got to learn how to not only deal with the physical fatigue but the mental fatigue as well. So all of that goes into a personal and a team strategy, and ultimately led to our success.
Yeah. Dan, you're a former powerlifter, right?
Yeah, I did Olympic style weightlifting, so
yeah. Not to get into too much of our top secret stuff, does that lend itself to like explosive power and speed?
It does a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Anything else anyone wants to add on that point as far as physical preparation, mental? Maybe something you took upon yourself to do?
It's a lot. It's tough. I mean, it's not just show up and go cast. We all know that. I mean, it's a lot to get ready. So there's definitely been a lot of hours put in outside of tournament leading up to it that a lot of people don't see. I mean, probably days, if not weeks, of practice and training. So it is something you got to prepare for sure.
I want to say, guys, I'm very, very proud of what you guys have done. I'm very proud of the approach that you took to training. When I was in my heyday, I was probably the first caster that actually did that. I went into a full training mode, and I did it for close to a decade to try. I was an old guy trying to compete with young bucks, and I felt like that was the only way I could do it. But to see these young guys take that same approach and build upon it, especially with Ryan's background in collegiate athletics and tailoring a training program, forecasting this, it's a very impressive thing. And like I said, I'm as proud as I can be of you guys, and to see you doing it the way you did it, it was done correctly.
I also wanted to go around the room, and unless somebody has something else to add on that point, we know about the second place, the silver medal for the team. Just wanted to go around the room and have each of the team members describe what you would consider your biggest accomplishment at Worlds. Ryan, you want to go?
Sure. I think coming home from Argentina last year, we had a bitter taste in our mouth. We felt like we performed well with no prior experience on the world stage. But we knew, and we still know, there's more to be accomplished. The thing I'm most proud about is the team that's been assembled and the leadership that's been assembled for this team. That sounds very cliche, but you look at each of these pieces right here, and they are very strategic. Will, as of a couple of years ago, was retired. He's done. Got rid of all his stuff, and for him to get the bug again, and not just catch the bug, but he put in the effort. I mean, he went back to lifting, he went back to practicing, and not only participated, but he competed. He's in the top 10 in the world in the 100-gram, and that shows dedication to the sport. Each piece of this puzzle did their job very, very well, and for us to come in, we were on the radar, but we were still the dark horse. For us to come in and succeed as a team and to hang on to a lead going into the last day that we had, I think that's a lot that we can build on.
Okay. Well, you didn't say it, so I will. You're the first American in history to hit a cast over 900 feet.
Right.
Which you did on the fourth day, the 100-gram sinker, and you're now the current record holder for that weight class for the world. So
yeah,
just want to recognize that, of course.
It's cool. It is a goal that Tommy and I talked about years ago. It's something that Connor and I talk about. We had every confidence, and still do, that 900 under the right conditions can happen. It will happen again. We're at the disadvantage in the United States where we rarely, if ever, get conditions consistent with those type of casts. We're not going to sit here and throw shade of, barometric conditions or wind or throwing downhill. We're not going to dive off the deep end on that. I think that goes into preparation and strategy. We had a very good strategy. We knew what our equipment could do. We knew how to run it, knew what our bodies would do, and with enough preparation, take advantage of the situation. And, thankfully I was able to do that.
Ryan, you're being very, very humble. I want to say I chased that dragon for 12 years. That was my ultimate goal, was to be the first American to break the 900-foot barrier. And you're 100% correct. We just don't get the conditions. When over in England, I actually was able to compete with and defeat, I think it was 6 guys that were in that 300-yard club, but we just didn't have that condition here. So, man, don't be humble. You kicked butt, and you deserve that. And the title of world record holder, they can't take that away from you, man. That is special. And you deserve all the accolades that go along with it. And I want to say one more time, congratulations. You are the man.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And Will, you had a pretty big cast with a 100-gram sinker as well. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just got out there, got a hold of one, kind of watching some of the things that some of the other casters were doing from some of the other countries, and very, very minute details that have big consequences. Just try to key in on some of those and lock in mentally, and just get a hold of one and try and get lucky to see what the mag's going to do with those conditions, the wind we were having, and just keep it together and see where it landed. And ended up on the second cast of the day, on the 100-gram day, got one out just over 877 feet, which is a personal best for me. You know, an old guy hitting 877 is kind of outrageous. It felt really good. It felt really good. And to have my teammates around me and to know that I was contributing to the overall goals of the team, that felt amazing. So, yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Were you leading at that point? I think that was early on that you hit that cast, right?
Right. So at the time that I hit my cast, I believe an Italian had set the record in the first round. And Argentinian had reset the record in the first flight of the second round. So they were 1 and 2 on the board at that time. And I was in the second flight. So after the second flight, there was the Argentinian with the world record in first, the Italian in second place, and me, I was in third place at that time after the second round. So that was unreal. That was a fever dream kind of thing to be out there like that. But I was very, very happy that my teammates joined me, and we were able to do pretty well in that last day.
Yeah, sure. Dan, what weight did you think you were doing the best with throughout the competition?
I struggled with a 150, 175 gram. I was losing positioning of the lead with the high winds. You know, we're not used to throwing in those conditions, and it came together on the 125, and then the 100-gram. I did okay, but that's not my best lead. But I did a personal best, and I'm pretty proud of that. And the 125, we had no wind that day. It was like big wind, no wind, and then all of a sudden huge wind. So,
right.
Yeah, the 125 was probably my best out of the 4 days we competed.
Yeah, that's right. The 125 was your PB?
No, the 100-gram. 100-gram.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense. And then, Connor, you broke a U.S. record there as well.
Yeah, so 5 feet short, so 895 feet on the 150 gram. Last cast of the day, just got up there and got a hold of it, and it was a bittersweet moment walking out there. Just getting up there like Dan said, and Ryan, with the high winds, reels were running stupid fast compared to what we were used to. We were touching numbers that we didn't even know were possible to hold together. And we were trying to learn on the fly as best as we could and as fast as we could to get the most amount of distance, and ended up coming together on the second day on the 150 grams. So it was a pretty good cast, and we look forward to getting back to training and seeing what South Africa has to offer.
Right. Well, am I incorrect here that you hit, it was 894 feet for the 150 gram cast? And that broke Ryan's previous record for that. No,
894, 895.
890, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So that was the better cast of the week. 100-gram day struggled. That wind, it's hard to feel that weight. Boy, it's hard. So, had a lot on the line. It was fun. It was fun. We fought to the very end, that's for sure. So, and then for Will didn't say his said 100 grand when he hit that cast. I had thrown out there at 265 and was 2 meters right behind him. I saw him in front of me. He was way down the field, actually, way before we got to that. Me and Ryan were about 100 meters behind, and Will just kept walking. He didn't stop for no one. He just kept walking. He was going way out there at 250, 260. I said, Ryan, you see Will up there? He said, where is he? I said, he's past the flag, bro. Will looked up, and we just both started. I started reeling faster. Ryan started speeding up, and it was definitely a great moment to share with Will. And I'm glad he was there and we were there to be a part of it. So
I love that story. I can never hear that story enough.
Now, Carlos, what was your experience like observing all this?
So I think just being around all the competitors, from different countries, getting to meet them and sharing some camaraderie, and best of all, just recording their casts and how they, I guess how the machine works. Just seeing them all do different styles and still, competing at that higher level. It was a great experience.
So did you guys come off the court and then Carlos immediately had some footage that you would look at and review real quick?
That
Yeah,
was a huge help from last year to this year to
that's
have
smart.
instant feedback from one round to the next. You can tweak your cast pretty much from one round to the next. I feel like from that standpoint, Carlos was a massive help.
yeah, definitely having 4 extra eyes this year versus 4 less last year was big. And then also with the videos too. If you felt something was wrong, something was off, it just didn't go right, you could pull it up right there. All right, this is what happened. This is what I need to not do, or I need to slow down. I'm too fast, So it was huge help. Thank you, Carlos.
no problem. Yeah, I think that feedback helped everybody. Just to see, if you hit the dirt or if you were a little fast or a little slow. I think it helped everybody. So I was glad to be there.
But tell me, you were obviously a former U.S. champion for years. I keep hearing different things, and since we have you here, I want to get this straight. Is Ryan's team that started up last year going to Worlds, is it the first ever time an American has competed in the FIPS-M World Championships?
To my knowledge, yes. I believe that is the only time, the first time. Back during the mid 2000s, I took 3 trips to Europe. At that time, there was a big, I guess, discord between a lot of the English casters and FIPS. They didn't want to go. The French didn't want to go. There was a lot of discord. So they started doing these invitational tournaments that were not involved with FIPS. So that's what I competed in when I went over there. It was basically the same casters, same people that were the top casters in the world. But this is the first time as of last year that America has competed in the FIPS World Championship. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Sounds like some controversy behind that. So we'll leave that alone.
Well, each of us on this call has been around casting long enough to know how much drama can revolve around this sport. And that's what it was. It was drama. Somebody didn't like somebody, or somebody got a call they didn't like, or somebody cheated or something. And there was a big, at that time, the participation in the FIPS was way down because these guys wouldn't go. So yeah, that was that.
And I also wanted to ask and get I wasn't paying too much attention to the other countries. Just looking at the final standings for the teams. Argentina came in first, United States second, Italy third. What would you guys say were some of the big moments for the teams and the casters for other countries? that you observed? If
I mean,
anything.
I don't think you have to look much further than the jockeying back and forth between really the top five, 5 to 7 casters overall in the tournament. I think in total, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, including the women, there were at least 3 that I know for certain, maybe even 4 world records that were broken. Um, it's the entire atmosphere is hard to describe. Last year it was a little different. It was our first time, getting out of the bus, going into the hotel this year. It's almost like you're being welcomed back to a fraternity of folks that, yeah, it's dog eat dog. You're having to scratch for every position. But it's really cool. And Will made a comment, and hopefully he's willing to expand on this a little bit. But you see these names and these faces over the last decade, 15 years, legends in the casting world, and to be able to share the field with them and either be neck and neck or beating these guys who were or still are world class casters. Um, it's just really cool to see the back and forth. It's almost like a chess match. Everybody knows everybody else has the potential to bust one off, and of course, we're secretly wishing that these other guys we're competing with, we're hoping they crack off every single time, and they're probably doing the same to me. I wouldn't expect any less. Um, but just the overall atmosphere of the competition, camaraderie, everybody's hanging out in the hotel in the afternoons. Um, and at the end of the day, you're there competing for the stars and stripes. And it's just a feeling that's hard to describe.
Let me just go into what Ryan was talking about there. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I mean, casting, long casting is a global community, and we kind of keep tabs on one another informally through social media, right? And some of the casters they're legendary casters with a lot of content out there. So you watch their videos, you try and emulate what they're doing, what's working for them, and can I do that? Can I incorporate that into my style? And I mean, you see them on the videos, you see them on your computer, but that's just digital media, right? It's not a real person out there until it really is. And then you have, you're standing next to Alessio Massa and you're getting ready to compete against him, standing next to him for the 175. That kind of takes you out of your game a little bit, seeing all these legends, these Italian, Uruguay, and Argentinian legends out there casting right next to you. So it takes a minute to snap back to reality, as Eminem says, and get your game face on.
Will, how about going into detail a little bit? I mean, you talked about it on the 175 gram day. Just that feeling, that first feeling of getting up to the hockey and just how it was versus being in the States.
Right. So these guys, all the rest of my team members were in Tandil last year. They'd already done it for the first time, and as far as I could tell, it didn't faze them a bit. But the day one, getting up there with the 175, and they announce your name. They tell you you're on deck. Get up to the on deck position. Get ready to cast. And again, you're surrounded by all these other countries with all these other tents and the jerseys and everything. You begin to kind of look around, and man, it's butterflies, it's stage fright, whatever you want to call it, buck fever. Yeah, it's a mess. And then you get up there, and you have that flood of emotions going through you, and here's your first cast. Here's your time to shine, and you either nail it or you don't. And I didn't nail it my first cast, so.
It's kind of an adrenaline rush. You get up there to that hockey and they call your name, like Will said. You get up there and the blood kind of gets to flowing a little bit. You get the all right, it's time to go, like he said. But it's hard to explain to the people that are at our local tournaments or just here because you got to be there. I mean, it's really unreal. It pushes you to a whole nother limit that you didn't know you had because you've got more on the state online.
Anyone else want to add anything on that front?
Yeah, let me just say that some of the casters, some of the better casters, their walkout was kind of intimidating. I thought, they would they're kind of a little bit of a showmanship, that they knew, that confidence. They walk out there with a strut or their arms, held out, or they'd yell and grunt and do all this stuff. So I thought that was pretty impressive. I thought they had some confidence in their step. Now that kind of diminished after we started pulling ahead, but I thought that was pretty impressive.
Are you talking about the opening ceremony?
No, I'm talking about going up to the Aki and getting ready to cast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'd call it a walkout, like the pro wrestlers do, kind of a little bit of a showmanship, not too much, but it can be kind of intimidating if you're just watching or you're your first time there. That was it was impressive, and I've got that all on video too. So I recorded those guys from the first 2 days. So, maybe we can look at it and see how they're casting and that, taking silver kind of trumps all that. I mean, we know what we're doing. We just, we need to just step it up a little bit of a notch and take that gold next time.
All those guys have been watching old Tommy Farmer videos.
Exactly.
In 2006, after the first day, they started calling me the bear because number one, I was 300 pounds, and number two, every time I hit the rod, I grunted. I'll tell you one thing, watching Danny Moskos step up to the Aki for the first time was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Watching that man hit a fishing rod, I've never seen anything like it still to this day. He was an impressive sight. I hate that he's not still casting.
Those guys, the difference between seeing a video of these casters on YouTube, seeing them, the video versus actually watching them do the thing is incomparable.
Absolutely.
Well, now speaking of technique, I wanted to ask, were there any new distance casting, I don't know how you describe it, trends that are going around that you picked up on while you were hanging out with like an international group of casters?
I think it's something you've always got to pay attention to. I think about my own cast over the last, let's say, 15 years off and on, and even in the last 5 since I've kind of dove off the deep end. It's changed a little bit. Age is going to force that. Flexibility will force it. Strength will force it. But ultimately, technique and how you're able to load particular rods and particular weights is very personalized. I think it is our job to be aware of what everybody else is trying. Not saying that we need to follow suit. It's not something that, such and such one, everybody needs to go to his exact cast. We've, in certain conditions, we were able to pick out some rod combinations where it might entail a softer butt, stiffer tip, stiff butt, stiff tip, high cast, low cast, how their in swing, out swing goes. There are differences from one caster to the next, but I think it's ultimately up to us to really formulate our own techniques. Yeah, we can try anything and everything, and there's a time for that. And, as far as preparation, we're coming off the worlds. Right now is the time to try stuff. We've got a good 6 months to almost a year to go back to the drawing board if we want to put in a flat arc or a high swing or a roll cast, whatever that looks. But to say that there's anything brand new, I wouldn't say there is. These other guys might have different opinion, but I think what works for me might not work for Will and vice versa. It's just a matter of how we feel we can best load the rod.
Yeah, Matt, one thing that when I first started casting, you watch the videos on YouTube and you realize that there really is no other way to put the reel on the rod except for the low reel position. That was it. That's the longest casters in the world were casting low reel. And, throughout my career, that's what I did was low reel. I was one of the few people in Italy that was throwing low reel. All my teammates, all my teammates were high reel. Most of the other countries were high reel. So there's an evolution, in different different techniques, different incremental changes that give you an edge or perceived edge or whatever. So yeah, there are things that are changing for sure.
Well, do you think you'll be trying out, or I'm not sure if you're planning on being on the 2027 team, but if so, are you planning on maybe experimenting with high reel this coming year?
Absolutely not. The only way you can get good distance is with low reel.
I'm with you, Will. I'm with you all the way, buddy.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah.
A story. Back in the 70s, everybody, even in England, was throwing high reel. That's how they threw. Then a combination of Terry Carroll and Neil McKellow, primarily Neil McKellow, started playing around with the low reel, and it made a huge improvement for him. It was like a step change that set his career off as a caster. And when I first started, everybody was trying to throw low reel. It was a cumbersome thing to try, but I still believe in it. I still believe that it has a couple of inherent advantages, but I cannot argue with the success that Ryan and Connor and the other great casters around the world have had. So I don't think it really matters. I think that learning how to properly hit the rod, whether you've got the reel at the top or the bottom, learning how to transfer that power and execute that finish is the most important thing. And there are now, there's a high swing, there's a low swing, there's the roll cast, there's the ground cast, but they all have one common element, and that is the finish. The finish should be the same on all of them. And it's just a matter of getting your body and your arms and everything in position to make that hit and where the sinker is in relation to the rod tip. So it's just, different ways of baking up the same recipe, I guess.
Yeah. So Will, high reel is out. I did want to go around though and ask each of you, looking at the next year and next year's worlds, again, not to get into anything top secret, but what changes or what's something different that you might do in preparation for the next time around?
The notes I have from preparing for this year's worlds, as far as the kettlebell training, casting, Matt Deshane's help with the reel tuning, all that, they're positives, super positive things. So I'd want to make sure that, I was able to emulate that going forward. But as far as making changes to anything else, consistency probably would be good. Being able to know that I'm going to hit every single cast would be a huge help. And, there may be another swing in there somewhere, maybe a little something that I learned in Italy. We'll see how it goes.
What did you say? What did you say a second ago? Make every cast, or did you mean like not having any crack offs?
Well, I went the whole tournament, all 4 days with 0 crack offs. So I felt really, really good about that. Small accomplishments, right? I did get a few out of bounds. So I would like to have every single one of my leads in the court. So yeah, that's what I would like to do. And with power, with violence, right?
Yeah, it shows that the crack offs and the out of bounds. I think they show up the same on the FIPS-M scores that they put out. I got
exactly.
confused there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you feel like you were too conservative with the magnets, or just right? If you didn't have a single crack off.
Well, not having a single crack off means probably that I was too conservative with the mags. I mean, if you look at the net results, right? So, and I do believe my reels are running a little tighter than they probably should have, but I just didn't have any experience with those conditions. Now having that experience, it's going to be different next time.
Tommy, I think I heard you say a while back that when you are competing as a team, you want to play it a little safer because you're kind of responsible to everybody else.
I don't know if I may have said that in the past. I don't know. I was always of the belief that your preparation leading up to the tournament, when you get to tournament day, you should be on automatic pilot. You should have done all your work and all your practice in the field, and you should absolutely know the limitations of your equipment. That's one thing that I think I had an advantage over most people is that I practice so much. I've got literally over 20,000 practice casts that I pretty much videotaped them all. But I watched these guys. I actually was reviewing these videos, and one thing that just intrigues me, and I wish that it had been around a little while earlier, is the roll cast. I was watching these guys, and there's some mechanical advantage to that cast on the power stroke, because when you finish the roll cast, your arms are in the right freaking position. I was watching the guy that set the world record in the 175, and his motion, the motion of his arms through the roll cast is minimal. And versus the high swing, especially the high swing with the high reel, there's a lot of motion in that cast. Your arms are moving a lot, and it lends itself to drifting back with your right arm. But with that roll cast, man, that is something that if I still had the gas, that's something I would absolutely pursue, because I think it's got a tremendous amount of potential. I've watched Connor cast a lot. I've watched Ryan cast a lot. And with Connor, I believe in my heart that if we can get the drift that he has with his right arm coming back is killing his lead swing, his lead speed. And I believe that there's a significant amount more in the tank for him and for all these guys. And I'm like, I'll say it one more time. I'm as proud as I can be of all of you. And I wish I had me a time machine that I could jump in and have gone back about 15 years. I'd have been right there with you guys.
And the roll cast, that's the one that I think it was Paul Kerry started, where it's a pendulum cast, but you just immediately throw the sinker
forward. Yeah, that's the one that I, it was first come on about the time that I was really kind of winding down, and I never played with it. One thing I used to do coming out of any major tournament, especially the times that I went to Europe, I studied these guys, and when I came back, each time I came back with a plan to try to improve, and it worked for me. Hell, after I went to England in 2006, I didn't throw a pendulum cast for 2 years. I put the sinker on the ground and reset the American record books with a ground cast, because I felt that was the way forward as far as learning how to properly hit the rod. But that roll cast, man, it intrigues me, and if I get my hands straightened out, I might start playing around with it just a little bit, just to see how it feels. Because I think it has, and I've always kind of looked at it as it didn't really make any difference what you did with the sinker as far as your swing, as long as your finish and your hit was proper and the sinker was in the right place. I always felt like it didn't really matter. But But watching that cast, I definitely see a mechanical advantage in it.
Dan, what do you think he'll be?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Was somebody about to say something else? I was just going to ask Dan what he's planning on working on over the next couple months.
Definitely speed and lead position, and their casts are pretty on point. You know, they practice a lot, and it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over. They don't change anything, and I think, you know, you can see from other casters where they started and where they are now, and it's pretty phenomenal. You know how they get, not really power, it's just more technique. I don't know, but it's pretty cool how they have developed, especially the Argentinians. You know, they're number one in casting, in my opinion. So I'm gonna try to focus more on speed and you know, practice and hitting the weights and just generating power, and definitely that's, I guess, something I lack, or I feel like, you know, you got to have that power and speed and not just go through the motions, you know. When I first got into casting, I would try to break the rod, and I do that now, but speed is definitely what I'm lacking. So I'm going to focus in on that, and so should do pretty good, you know.
Then Ryan, Connor?
We got a long time. So we got
Yeah.
year and a half. It's gonna be a lot of tweaking, a lot of playing, trying out new rods, really getting reels figured out, kind of get a set for. A lot of eating and a lot of working out. And South Africa, we got a long time, so there's gonna be a new Connor coming, and I'm ready. Let's start working.
I think from my standpoint, from a personal standpoint and from a team and program standpoint, it's a little bit of a, you know, status quo, I guess you'd call it. I feel like we were well prepared as a team, well prepared as a program. I think coming out of Italy and the conditions that we saw there, and I can probably speak for all 5 of us that traveled, that was the first time during a tournament we had ever seen conditions even remotely close to that, ever. You know, when I hit 889 at the Sportcast tournament, whenever it was a few years ago, that's as close as we're going to get, but that was downburst in a thunderstorm, right place, right time. The only time we get conditions like that consistently are tropical storms or hurricanes. That's it. And I can say with honesty, over the last year, anytime we've got a hard thunderstorm line, low pressure front coming across, the rod's been in the truck. I might only throw 1 or 2, but it's specifically to figure out where I think I can start my reel. I think the notes that we took while we were in Italy this year are going to be invaluable moving forward. There's no more guesswork. You know, if we've got a 15-mile-an-hour wind constant and 20-mile-an-hour gusts, there's no, oh, I think I can start at 12 seconds. No, I know I'm starting at, you know, this spot on my reel. No guesswork. I'm standing up there and I'm going to spank it. Right out of the gate, I'm going to hit it in the mouth. And this is coming from somebody no matter what sport I've ever played, I kind of ease into it. And you can tell that in every single round, in every weight, I typically step up every cast. And I think naturally I will probably stick to that just a little bit. Will talked about running his reels a little bit tight. That's typically not my problem, but I do like to be a little on the conservative side as far as where I run my reels magnet wise. I think we've got a better picture of what the conditions are on the top end, and it's going to allow some of that conservative mentality to go away to where we're taking risks right out the gate. The other side of things that I think could potentially change from a program standpoint, I've had a lot of conversations over the last week and a half with either people looking to get into long casting for the first time or folks who have previously been on the scene and all of a sudden they have interest again. It's like something stirs in their gut that, this is not just grass casting, hanging out with my buddies on a weekend when the wind's blowing wrong at the beach and I can't catch fish. Like I said earlier, there's something different about competing for your country and competing against the best in the world. And, that side for me could be a big change. It could mean not only taking an A team, but we're taking a B team as well. It could mean taking a women's team to South Africa. So I think over the next 12 to 18 months, our program could look dramatically different from what it does today. And I hope it does for the better. We've got all the right pieces of the puzzle in place. I really hope with our 3 casting clubs that we can expand into more areas of the country, develop new casting clubs. I'd love it if we've got a really hard job as a program and as a committee to come down to a top 10 casters. And it is very, very hard for us to only pick 10 to send. That would be a great problem to have. I think we can get there. Time will tell.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what effect these accomplishments have on expanding the sport here in the U.S. over the next couple months and years. All right, so I guess we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything else anybody would like to mention before we get off the air here?
One thing I'd like to mention real quick is we obviously want to grow the sport, bring more people in, build these teams up, but I want to let folks know, what do you need to compete at the highest levels? And just as an example, one of the other countries I was talking to, I asked the guy, how often do you practice? And he said every day. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. He's like, no, the casting field is between my house and my work. So on the way home, every day I stop and make 1 or 2 or 3 casts. So every day I'm casting. I know some of the Argentinians have access to fields that they cast regularly. So that's like the level of practice that the other competitors are doing. Also know that a lot of people have notebooks for their reels. They know exactly what the reel settings are, how full the spool is, what lead they're going to be throwing. So there's a lot of detail, a lot of practice for potential team members. Let's get that commitment up and let's build some teams up.
All right. Well, for people who are watching this, we're going to put this on social media, possibly our website as well. Speaking of which, if anybody wants more information on the USA surf casting team or just the sport in general to see what it's all about, they can go to our website, which is USA, or I'll spell it out, usangling.org/surf-casting. And they can also make a tax-deductible donation on that page if they want to support the team going to future competitions. So everyone, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on what the team's achieved. What's that?
Before we roll out, I would like to say a big thank you to our sponsors that allowed us to get there. We had Redfish Bay Marina, Hatteras Jack, Texas Surf Masters, Carolina Cast Pro, Hatteras Jack, Real Custom Reels. Couldn't have done it without them.
Joe Moore.
Joe Moore as well. All the support back home. There were numerous personal donations as well. That's the ugly side of running a program and trying to expand the program. It's not cheap, but we are forever grateful for the opportunity to represent these sponsors and represent the United States.
And one final thing real quick. We also owe a debt of thanks to our spouses who sometimes don't understand why we're standing in a field throwing a lead sinker around. But we appreciate their patience and their unconditional support.
Yeah. Guys, I just want to say one thing. I'm honored to be in the lineage of casting in the United States, and this whole Texas Carolina thing has been it's been a great experience for me, going back to early 2000s, duking it out with Big Lou and taking the title from him and then holding on to it for a decade, and then this character from Texas named Will coming along kicking my butt and taking it all from me. I'm just honored to be part of that legacy. Thanks, guys.
Back in the Carolinas too, just so you know, Texas.
Hey,
I guess, Will, you're inbred, so.
Yeah, Will's
I'm a hybrid.
Carolina.
Yeah, he's a hybrid.
Have you got any potential newcomers coming up the pike in Texas?
We have a couple in Corpus, and I think Daniel gets a big group together in out around the Houston area when he puts his events on out there. So I think he's got another one of those planned for this year, later in the summer. We have a tournament in a little over a week down in Corpus Christi. Really looking forward to seeing what that turnout's going to be, and then the one out in Houston should be a big one. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some more people interested.
Keep that pipeline open.
Will, just so you know, it's going to suck when you go back to Corpus, the Kingsville. 750 all day, baby.
You're probably right.
All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap.
Thanks, guys.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. And unless there's anything else, we'll see you around.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Later on.
Night.
Later.